my fellow human beings, and welcome to episode 133 of The Best Blessed Life. I'm your best host, Kristen, and today's topic is fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy cake. Before we get started, I want to thank you all for watching. Please continue to watch, comment, share, like, subscribe, ring that bell, and please pass them on to anyone you think they would help. With that being said, here's our list of things to do today. We're going to go over our daily compliments for the last, I think it's 2 weeks. And then we're going to do that segment I like to call Cook, Book, and First Look. And the cooking is based on the book we finished a while ago now, called Annie's Ghost. And I'll give you a little summary of that once we get going. And again, the book didn't really mention too much the food of the era, but this story starts in around the 1940s in Detroit. So I went with, I basically Googled desserts from the Detroit area, circa 1940 or something to that effect. Okay, and that's what came up was Bumpy cake. Okay, and I'm going to give you a little history about Bumpy cake real quick. The history of Bumpy cake is tied to the Sanders Confectionery in Detroit, Michigan, where it was created in the early 1900s. Origin: the cake was originally called the Sanders Devil's Food Buttercream Cake. It was created by Fred Sanders Schmidt, a German confectioner who moved to Detroit after the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. The name changed. The name was changed to Chocolate Bumpy Cake after customers began calling it the cake with the bumps. The name refers to the cake's unusual appearance, which is created by piping rows of vanilla buttercream across the top of the cake and then covering it in a fudge frosting. I know. Okay, so last time was pretty healthy, this time not so much. Sanders Confectionery is the sole owner of the original recipe and trademarked Bumpy name. However, production was paused in 2023 after Sanders' longtime partner Minnie Marie Bakers Inc. closed. Sanders is currently working to find new partners to produce the cake. Bumpy cake is a rich, chocolatey, and creamy dessert that's become an iconic Midwestern specialty. I'd never heard of it, but that doesn't mean anything. Again, I'm not from Michigan, so. Okay, so apparently during one recipe test, Fred began to run out of vanilla cream, and instead of frosting the cake in a thick layer as planned, he playfully piped the little lines of buttercream that we're going to be doing here in a little bit. But I also want to give you the positive compliments. And I also want to show you my new coffee mug I'm so very excited about. So let me get it just right. Look at that. Best Blessed Life. It's one of those BrewMate cups. And I'm still deciding on whether I actually like the lid, which I'm not crazy about. And it's so wide that I can't spin it. But other than that. Okay. So, starting with the 4th of October, being around you makes everything better. The 5th, which was mine and my husband's 28th wedding anniversary, the world is a better place because you're in it. The 6th, it's great to know that you have my back. The 7th, you always know just what to say. The 8th, your friends are lucky to have you in their lives. The 9th, there's a reason. The 15th, you have such a great sense of style. The 16th, you have such a great personality. And today, I really enjoy talking to you. So, there we are. Those are done. Okay, so the next thing, I gotta get this. Peyton is letting me borrow her iPad to do the recipe. and it keeps, oh no, hold on. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Oi. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in front of me a little more. Okay, so the recipe is as follows. I'm just gonna read it really super quick. Actually, I'm just gonna share it with you, but I'll give you the ingredients. So there is a shortcut that I'm using that this woman posted. I'm gonna put the link in the description for today's episode, but hers called for a dark chocolate fudge cake mix. I use Duncan Hines. Mine is actually Betty Crocker, and I got it on clearance for 88 cents. So there you go. Then it's 3/4 cup unflavored brewed coffee, cooled to room temperature, 3/4 cup whole milk, 1/2 cup vegetable oil, 1/2 cup of sour cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 4 large eggs, room temperature. And then there's a buttercream recipe that I'll give you in a little bit. But I am actually cheating today because I made the s'more cake for the little boy I babysit, and there was a lot of buttercream left over. So ours is actually going to have toasted marshmallow buttercream on it. So that's a little bit of a cheat. This is actually supposed to be vanilla, but I've already got it made. It uses 8 sticks of butter. You know, I found another purpose for it. And then the chocolate frosting is 1 cup of light brown sugar, lightly packed, 3/4 cup, unsalted butter, room temperature, 2/3 cup of buttermilk, and I actually made my own with the amount of milk we needed. Oh no, I needed 2/3 cup. I swear I only made 1/2 cup. Oh crap. Okay, I'll get that taken care of. 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1/4 cup of light Caro syrup. We used honey. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 3 cups of powdered sugar sifted, and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Oi, I can't believe I did that. Okay, she said you can substitute a dark chocolate, a devil's food, or just a cake mix. You can also substitute the coffee. I'll get through that as we go along. I don't want to spend too much time. Okay, so they want you to actually use a metal baking pan, which I am, but I lined mine with aluminum foil because 1, it makes it easier to clean up, and 2, my pan is actually pretty worn out, so I didn't want the cakes rusting up against it. So I'm just using it as the form for my cake, as you can see. And then we sprayed it with a cooking spray, and we've set it aside. And then the next thing we get to do is we're going to use a medium bowl, and we're going to mix together our cake mix, our coffee, milk, vegetable oil, sour cream, and vanilla extract, and we're just going to beat till combined. So that's what I have to do over here because I don't have a cord long enough. Now here's the cake mix. Ours is chocolate fudge. I cut it open already so I could just pour it, and now I can't find them. Okay, all right, there we go. Why is it I feel like when they're dark chocolate or fudgy or something, the cake mix color doesn't really resemble how dark I think it should be? But, all right. Come on, get out of there. Okay, cake mix. Booyah. Coffee. We actually brewed this yesterday, so ours is very much room temperature. Okay. And vegetable oil, I do believe. Yes. I want to just double check. Oh my gosh. Okay. You can always substitute butter for that, but I used enough butter last week. Okay, then we're going to use the milk, and this is just the regular milk. This is not the buttermilk, because the buttermilk is for the frosting. I just didn't want to be wearing it. Okay, and then we have 1/2 cup of sour cream. And I was actually going to use Greek yogurt, but I think we had to throw my Greek yogurt out. It got a little funky. All right, so again, this is not your healthy option. You know, we did healthy last time. I'm trying to show a little bit more balance. And so we're going to mix this on medium speed until just combined. I was going to scrape, but I don't think I really need to. Oh, the vanilla, right? Ah, yes. Okay. There we go. All right, so we're gonna mix this. Okay, maybe we're not. So we're gonna put this in here. All right. Here we go. It's nice because it's not too loud either. I can face you this way. The cord's too short to reach over there, and it's too short to reach over here. They never think, either when building kitchens or building appliances, that you might be far away from your outlet. So either build more outlets or make appliance cords longer. I'm just saying, come on, toaster cord, really? Oi. All right, so we're combined, I would say. I'm gonna scrape real quick just to make sure. Plus I can get the rest of my ingredients that were stuck on there. Okay. Perfect. Oh no! I should have, it reminds me of pudding, actually. Okay. I'm trying to get that in there. All right. I'm making way much more of a mess than I need to. All right. Ooh, that's tasty. Oh, that's so good. All right, then we're gonna beat the eggs one at a time. And mine are way beyond room temperature. It's sitting out early this morning on low. I need more than, this is really thick. This is gonna be super, super duper fudgy. And I think it's gonna be really delicious with the toasted marshmallow. Sorry, Mr. Sanders. I changed the recipe on you. But yeah, the last couple books have not really mentioned food too much, so I'm kind of bummed. But I keep looking, hoping one of these days. The last, I'm gonna say we're 1, 2. Actually, I'm almost 3 books ahead. Oh boy. All right. I guess we're just supposed to mix till incorporated. Whoa. Ah. I don't know what it is lately, but, and I know I've mentioned this before, eggs do not want to crack for me. And if they do, why do they have to be so oddly, you know, cracked? Like it's so hard to open. Okay. Now, if you ever like to zhuzh up your cake mix, you can always, instead of adding water, which is what is typically called for in a cake mix, you can add milk. You can do milk and or heavy cream, or you could do chocolate milk if it's a chocolate cake and you're trying to make it chocolatier, or you could do a combination of chocolate milk and a little bit of coffee if you're doing something chocolate. And then I have now taken to adding, excuse me, 4 eggs because it just makes it that much more moist, I found. So anytime I make any kind of cake mix recipe, I definitely add an extra egg. Whatever the recipe calls for, I add an extra one. Except for brownies. Okay, I did that. Scrape down the sides and the bottom of the bowl to ensure the batter is smooth and well mixed. Okay. Then what? Then you pour into the cake batter, pour the cake, yeah, okay. Okay, so now we're gonna pour that in here. I'm gonna go over the buttercream recipe with you just because I think you should have the way this lady makes hers. But I would say I've showed you a few times buttercream, so I think we're well versed on that, and I didn't want to kind of beat a dead horse. Plus, golly, I have so much buttercream handy. Why waste it? This seemed like the perfect opportunity to use it. So this book that we're making this cake about is set in the 1940s, like I said, and it's based on a family secret. Now, I know this one was a first look a little bit ago. There's really not a synopsis, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that front. And once I get a break here, I will check it out a little more thoroughly. Okay, so now we're going to bake this for 30 minutes. I keep looking in the wrong spot. 30 minutes, or until the toothpick insert in the center comes away clean. All right, so this guy goes in. Okay. All right, and timer, 30 minutes. And now here's the other thing I've noticed about baking is that the more I leave it alone and don't open the door, let me turn the light on, the more finished it became. And last time when I made the, God, I got it over here too. When I made the s'mores cake the second time for the birthday, I read something about turning off the oven and leaving the cake in there to kind of redistribute and slowly, you know, cool down with the oven, as opposed to just dropping its temperature and bringing it to whatever the room temperature may be. So, like if your house is 68 degrees, like I keep mine, it's definitely not as warm as 350. And once you bring it out, that immediately started happening for me. Now, I am a person that doesn't like to overdo how long I cook something. So I'm more partial to having it a little doughy than a little crispy. But when it's sinking and it puddles or whatever, and the graham cracker cake, the second time when I left it in the oven and just allowed it to cool down with the way the oven slowly cools down, turned out perfect. It was moist. It was just chef's kiss. So I've been trying to do that more. Like when you have another batch to make, like I made vanilla cupcakes, I was really leery about pulling them out too soon and allowing them to sit on the counter while I made the other batch, and then, you know, allowing it to cool down with the oven. But they stayed pretty good, so I was delighted with that. So, Annie's Ghost is about a family secret, and I don't want to give too much of it away, but the author of the book is indeed the secret was kept by the author's mother. Okay, and I'm pretty sure there's no synopsis in here. I would read it again if there were. I think I just picked a page. Somebody's description. But basically, it's a really good book about how to research if you have a family history that you're uncertain about. I mean, this guy went pretty far. I think he left the country. I could be making that up. I can't recall. All my books are blurring together now. I need to slow down. But he went pretty far. Like I believe he lived in Washington, and he was, you know, going to Detroit a lot. He was going to visit relatives in other states, I believe. So he really did his due diligence on this book, and he gave quite a bit of detail, even though there really wasn't much detail about the family secret just in general. And the family secret didn't even come out till after his mother's death, and they were asking her son some burial questions and that started the ball rolling. Now, he also has, I'm trying to remember if he has 3 other siblings. I think there's 2 other boys, and then he has a sister. Something to that effect. Golly, it's been a while since I read it. But very great research. He brought his point across. I'm a weeper when I'm mad or sad or just angry. It comes out in tears a lot. And so I felt really, but the other, okay, so I want to go back for a second, because this book is not just about like the family secret in general, but learning about like medical things that maybe his mother should have divulged to him beforehand, because genetically they could have been passed on. But just in general, I felt like she was keeping the secret just for her own purposes, so she wouldn't have to explain herself. So that was a rough one, but a really good book. It's helped me a lot, just like see details a little better when I'm reading other books, or noticing like when things become repetitive, or things like that. I'm trying to think if this is the next book I actually need to be doing. I really am lost right now. Okay. So the next one that we just finished. Oh, I can't even remember the camera's over here. It's called Matters of Chance, and it's written by Jeanette Hayen, Hayen. And I read through the whole book. I did not read a single bit of the synopsis until this very moment. Matters of Chance, Jeanette Hayen's extraordinary novel, brings us into a world that is nearly lost to us. A world of tradition and personal responsibility, a world in which men and women are obliged to honor life, no matter how it is given to them. Morgan Shirtliff is one such man. There's a woman, Maud Lee, whom he passionately loves. They marry shortly before World War II and move to a house outside of Cleveland, Ohio. Unable to have children of their own, Morgan and Maud adopt twin girls, Caroline and Julia. An adoption arranged by the remarkable, somehow mysterious, head of the Tilden Hearn Adoption Agency, Miss Zenobia Sly. Isn't that a great name? Oh, I love it. Who Morgan and Maud feel has chosen them to be the parents for these 2 girls. In 1941, Morgan is called to war, except for one brief leave. In 43, he serves in the Navy until the autumn of 45, when the war ends at last. He returns home to his family and picks up picks up his personal and professional lives, basically where they left off. His career as a lawyer crescendos, grows finer. He wins his first glory case and finds in the public realm a brief, brilliant notoriety. His marriage to Maud is marvelously happy, and then, after the war, after the separation from his beloved wife and children, after believing his life to have found again a steady course that will carry him into the future, suddenly everything changes. In Matters of Chance, Jeanette Hayen has given us a novel of astonishing resonance and depth, and in Morgan Shirtliff, she has created a character who embodies an understanding about life itself, in which it is vital to believe in the possibility of transcendence. Heartrending, emotionally complex, beautifully paced, dazzlingly in both its style and attention to detail, this novel is a triumph of imaginative storytelling. I won't go on, it's pretty long. But I would say there's one thing I'm not happy about, and that was the ending. You get all the way to the end of this beautiful book that's like 440 pages or something to that effect, and she's really tugged at your heartstrings. You're getting a full vibe of like what these twin girls' lives like, what the parents' lives are like. what their parents' lives are like and how opulent their lives are. And in the end, some of it just doesn't matter, you know? So living your life to the fullest is just like what the whole book is kind of about. So I'm going to show you a little trick, and I'm sure you've seen it on TikToks and things of that nature. I just kind of constituted my buttercream. I, gave it a good mixing in the mixer. I added a little bit of cream. And so now I'm going to lay this press and seal down. You can use, you don't have to use this. You can use plastic wrap. I'm just not a big plastic wrap fan because I always have issues. So, and then I'm going to plop this down kind of in a little bit of a line, hopefully. Okay. And then what we're going to do, real quick, I want to get, I don't know if I have enough buttercream, but we're going to make do with what we got. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of roll it up. So it's kind of in a little bit of a tube. Okay, if I can get it working. And kind of mush it with your hands. Trying to get it tubular. Okay. Okay. So I like to get it as close to the end of my press and seal as possible. And if you notice, I'm going to wrap this up, which is nice because you can't really do that with plastic wrap. And then I have my pastry bag already ready with the big wide tip. Yeah, I'll get it yet. Okay. And then we're just going to go zoink and shimmy shake it until you get it to drop down, or you squeeze the crap out of it until it gets to where you want it to go. And look at that. Bada bing, bada boom. We're ready to decorate. And some people put a clip on here. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I just don't know if I have one handy. All right, so the cake, I've turned off the oven. The cake is done. It's redistributing nicely, like I told you worked out for me last time. So I'm doing that again. The only issue is I think what's going to end up happening is I'm not going to let it cool too much on the counter, because it only says I need to keep it in the freezer long enough to make my buttercream, which I've already done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it in there until I'm done making my chocolate frosting. So that's what I thought I would do. I just want this to redistribute for a couple more minutes. But in this pan, for y'all, I have my 1.5 sticks of unsalted butter and my brown sugar. I think that was a cup of brown sugar, by the way. And then we're also going to add to that the buttermilk, the cocoa, the Caro syrup or honey, or even maple syrup. You could use maple syrup as well. And the salt to this pan. Okay. Oh, we're bringing the mixture to a boil, making sure to whisk it often. Fun times. Okay. Let me get my whisk. All right, guys. I'm back. The cake is in the freezer. I'm going to do the, I almost said buttermilk stripes. Butter cream stripes. The cake turned out just perfect. It's got a nice little give to it. Super moist. There it is on the small screen. Here it is on the big screen. It's a very moist looking chocolate cake. I usually am very leery about chocolate cakes because usually they're pretty dry. All right, so now we're going to do our little stripes. Hopefully this will work. Oh, come on through, people. Here we go. think I'm going to end up making the lines a little bit thicker. Because it said 6. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I got 6 of them, so maybe I'm just going to make them a little bigger, bumpier. Got to be bumpy cake, right? Oh, good grief. That's the only problem with the buttercream in the piping bag with the marshmallow. Marshmallow gets stuck in there. So I'm trying to make them as even as possible, but you know, whatever. It's supposed to be bumpy, right? I'm just making mine taller as opposed to wider. Because otherwise, why don't we just frost it with the buttercream first? There we go. Okay. And then we got to get this back in the freezer. You stinker. For a long time. I'm probably not going to do it quite that long because who's got that kind of time? So while we're letting this freeze, which I don't think we need to freeze it as long as they say. Okay, we're going to start the frosting. So in this pan, I have the brown sugar, the butter, and this is supposed to be medium high. The buttermilk, which is over here, which I adjusted my serving size because I didn't have the 2/3 cup. And then we're going to also add our cocoa powder. Okay. And then also our Caro syrup, which I need to get my, where did my spatula thingy go? Oh, good grief. I'm so organized. Okay. It's hard to get Caro syrup. It's honey, sorry. Ours is honey. I didn't mean to mislead you. Okay. And we're actually supposed to whisk this, but I just needed to get the honey off the sides. I know you're supposed to spray it, but I honestly never remember till it's too late. Okay. Okay, and then salt. Okay. Perfect. And we're supposed to bring the mixture to a boil, make sure to whisk it often. I don't know why I'm squinting. Whisk it often. Oh yeah, because the butter's surely melting, for surely melting. So we're whisking and we're whisking. Oh, this is such a pretty color chocolate. Oh my goodness. Okay. Smells yummy. Smells so yummy. Okay. So once this butter melts, I think that's when I'm supposed to pay attention to when it starts boiling. I don't know if I'm supposed to stir it constantly. Whisk it often. I don't know what often is. Anyone? Anyone? And we're at about 6. I guess that's that's medium high. That's what it called for, medium high. I'm just trying to get this to melt faster. Come on. Whisk, 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 whisk. I'm getting used to the new camera positions because before my camera, I had it right basically on top of my computer. So that's why I keep looking off to the side. Yeah. Come on. All right. After that part, I think we start putting in the, where's my spoon rest? We start putting in the powdered sugar. Yeah, add in powdered sugar and vanilla, whisking until frosting is smooth. Okay. Did it say to turn the heat down there? Oh, this is where we're supposed to check for it to be like candy, which I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna pray. Oh, once we reach a rolling boil, continue to cook for 4 to 5 minutes. Ugh. Okay, so I just went ahead and I did the powdered sugar and the vanilla. And the vanilla was done in the wrong spot, but you know what? It is what it is. And it says to transfer it to a container with a spout, which I don't know why, because she talks about scooping it out when, why wouldn't I just pour it out? You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna let our stuff cool in the freezer for a few more minutes, and we'll go from there. All right, we're back. We've gotten the cake out of the freezer again, and then we're gonna, it says spoon, but it says slightly cooled. I don't really know what slightly cooled is, but it says over the top of the cake, paying close attention to covering the buttercream strips. I'm hoping this is supposed to thicken up. My bumpy cake isn't gonna look. It is kind of work. Sorry, I got zoned out there for a second. It is kind of work to make sure that the sides of the buttercream, because it's so upright, is completely covered. So it just keeps like kind of slipping off. So that's why I got zoned out there for a minute, guys. Sorry about that. I think that's a good spot. Peyton will be able to edit out for me. All right. All right. Okay. Oh, see, every time I think I'm done, it drags me back in. Mine is super bumpy. Okay. All right. See, this piece right here does not want to stay covered. Neither does that one or that one. But that is the end of the frosting. So it is going to have to do. And then we're supposed to put it in the fridge for 15 to 20 minutes. But I think this is where I'm going to leave you. I'm going to allow you the fantasy of dreaming about what it's going to taste like until I post about it. You need to make sure you're following me on Instagram at The Best Blessed Life, on Facebook at Kristen Haas. Sorry, don't mean to have my butt to you. Okay. Kristen Haas, KristinHass. Twitter at The Best Blessed Life, with life using a 1 instead of an I. And I'm gonna let you go because I think I've kept you hostage for long enough. So I talked about the book that this recipe came from, not really came from, but the idea spawned from. And then I talked to you about the new book, but there are going to be some other books in between that I've talked to you about before that we'll get back to and make something for. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh crap. I forgot to show you on the big screen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but that was one suggestion I got, is that I need to show it on the big camera. I can't tip it, so I hope that's good enough, guys. There it is in all her glory. I'll put it on the baby cam for a second. There you go. All right, back in she goes. Can she do it without the fridge beeping at her? Yes. All right, guys. I think that's about it. All I have left to say is I hope you have a good day. Go do great things. Be your best self. And please live your best blessed life. Thanks for watching.